Hey, so you got assigned this worksheet here where you got to convert whatever number you're given to the other two forms of that same number. So if you're given a fraction, you got to turn it into a decimal and percent. Here we're given a decimal, you got to turn it to a fraction percent, etc. Not a fraction percent, but a fraction or a percent. I'm going to do some of these with you. I'll try to pick out some of the tougher ones and work on them with you. I'm not going to do this whole thing. Let's just do some of them. I'll do some from this first side and we'll do some from the other side as well. So 1/5. One strategy I could use here. Let's turn this on, see if this helps. Maybe get this a little bigger. Is getting this denominator to either 10 or 100. So if I were to multiply the top and bottom of this by 2, I see that this is the same as, 2/10. Geez, start off the video with a mistake right off the bat. 2/10. And that's the same as 0.2. Right? Because I have a 2 in the 10th position, 2/10. And so there's my decimal, boom, 0.2. And then in order to turn a decimal into a percent, I just move that decimal point 2 spaces. And if I create an empty space when I do that, I fill it with a 0. So I'm not going to write it because I don't want to write on my paper, but I want you to imagine this decimal point sliding over one space, so it's behind the 2, and then sliding over another space, which creates a gap that's got to get filled with a 0. So 2, 0, 20%. All right. How about we do this one here where we start with a percent? So we work backwards the other way. Right now, this decimal point lives behind the 9 here. And if I want to turn it into a decimal point, I'm just going to scoot the decimal point 2 spaces that way. So from the 9, I go 1 space, puts it between the 3 and the 9, and 2 spaces puts it in front of the 3. So 0.39. And then I can turn that into a fraction by just looking at the fact that the 9 is in the hundredth space, right? 3 is in the tenths, 9 is in the hundredths. So I could just make a denominator of hundredths, and then it's 39 hundredths. All right, let's skip down a couple. So here you got 3/8. My advice is just memorize the 8s. Because every time they come up, you either have to like think about, well, what if I had fourths, or you got to do some long division, 3 divided by 8, or you got to grab a calculator and do 3 divided by 8. The thing is they come up a lot. We're going to use 8s a lot. You don't want to have to be worried about what it is every time. So for now, we can just do, yeah, I'm recording right now, but what's up?
You're using that adapter right now?
Yes. I'm using a little adapter that I need to make these videos that belongs to Mr. Albeck, and he just came in. I think he wants his adapter back. No, not done with it. All right, so we got 3 divided by 8, right? It's 3/8. So 3 divided by 8, 0.375. So that's, I mean, that's the easiest way, really, right? To turn a fraction into a decimal is just grab yourself a calculator and do top divided by bottom. But we want to have other strategies and be able to do it when we don't always have a calculator available to us, or just have a better understanding of the numbers. Now, to go from decimal to percent, we're just going to move that decimal point over 2 spaces. So right now, it's in front of the 3. We go 1, 2. It's going to land between the 7 and the 5. So we've got 37.5%. Okay. So here's an interesting one. I'm going to go down to this one here, 9.25%. Now, if I want to turn this into a decimal, I got to move the decimal point 2 spaces that way, which means it's got to go from here to here in front of the 9. That's 1 space. And then again, I'm going to go another space, and that leaves an open space that has to get filled with a 0. So the decimal's right here, and then it's a space you fill with a 0, then 925. So 9.25% is 0.0925. Now let's look at where this 5 is in terms of place value. We've got tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So I can just make a denominator with 10,000 at the bottom, And then it's just this number, 925. I don't really need the zero in the front. It's 925 10,000ths. All right, let's do a couple from the back. Like I said, I'm not going to do them all with you this time. Hopefully you don't find this too challenging, but I can help you along with some of them. This one's relatively easy. Multiply the top and bottom by 4, and you're going to turn this into 12 hundredths. If you remember the fact that percent and hundredths literally mean the exact same thing, then 12 hundredths means 12%. Same thing. And then 12 hundredths, you want to write that as a decimal, just make sure the 2, the last digits, the last digit in the number winds up in the hundredths place. So 0.12. The 1 in the tens place, 2 in the hundredths. I'll skip down to this one. We got 2.81. So our decimal number is bigger than 1. That means we're going to have a percent that's greater than 100%. 1 and 100% are the same thing, same number. And so you're over 100%, then you're over 1. If you're over 1, you're over 100%. So 2.81. As a percent, I can scoot this decimal over 2 spaces. 1, 2, the decimal is going to wind up on the other side of the 1 here. So it's 281%. And then here's a nice way of thinking about this. This percent symbol literally means out of 100, hundredths, divided by 100, however you want to think of it. So this says 281 hundredths. 281 hundredths. All right, how about one more? Let's hear. Let me look at, see if there's one that stands out, like it might be the toughest. All right, how about 9/8? Again, it's eighths, maybe. Oh no, you know what? No, we did an eighths already. Let me do the 2/9 instead, because the ninths, they repeat. When you turn them into decimals, they repeat. So let's talk about how to do that. So we got 2 divided by 9. The ninths are another one you should memorize. The ninths are easy. If you do 1 divided by 9, you get 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. When I did 2 divided by 9, I got 0.2222222. 3 divided by 9 is 0.3333333. 4 divided by 9 would be 0.44444. I hope you get the pattern. It goes like that the whole way throughout the ninths. And so here we've got 0.2 repeating. So for my decimal, I'll write 0.2 repeating. Now, when I go to move this decimal 0.2 spaces over, I have to think in my head, there's 2's going on. There's infinite number of 2's. So when I slide this decimal point over 1 space, it'll be here. When I slide it over another space here, I'm not going to fill this gap with a 0 like I would all the other ones, because I have to imagine, wait, there's 2's here going on forever. And so this is 22.2 repeating. I still have an infinite number of 2's, even though I scooted over a couple spaces, there's still 2's going on forever and ever percent. Okay. I'm thinking you could probably handle the rest. I believe in you.